Welcome to Edmonton Real Estate. Today I'm your host, LeRoy Warden, and today I have with me Sheryl Stevens of Remax Real Estate. Sheryl, welcome.
Good morning, LeRoy. Thank you very much for having me.
Sheryl, before we get into statistics and all of that stuff, do you want to share with our audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure, LeRoy. I really appreciate you having me on today and being out in this beautiful day. So thank you so much for that. I definitely love being outside and enjoying outdoor activities like going for hikes and going for walks. And you know, there's no better location than Edmonton. We've got some great locations in and around the area when you're checking out the river valley and such. But I've also noticed that there's some really great festivals that are coming to town. In the month of June alone, we have 16 different activities for you to go check out and for your listeners to check out. Things like the Jazz Festival is coming back from June 22nd to July 1st. We've got Sands on White happening from June 28th to July the 8th. And then we even have a new festival that I haven't heard about before. It's called Make Music Festival. It's happening June 21st. So definitely it's just a great time of the year to check out lots of events.
All right, thank you for sharing that, and thanks for sharing a bit about yourself. So one of the things that CMHC reported was housing starts. And they indicated that it was 963 housing starts in May, which I believe is up from April of 2018 by 141. Do you want to share with our listeners how the performance levels are in Edmonton and surrounding areas?
Sure. You know what? In total in May, we took on an extra 4,136 new listings, and which was actually an increase of 12.82 from May last year. And but we're definitely noticing a huge increase. Our spring market started off slow, and so we're actually up 19.19% from April to May. So definitely lots of increase that way.
So Alberta government reported job creation about 3,200 jobs, and the part-time jobs remain stable. Now, I believe that the unemployment rate dropped to 6.2%. So what are you seeing in the real estate market in terms of sale prices for single family, condos, and duplex row housing?
Well, there's been a few changes there. Number one, I should say that we actually had in May 1,776 homes actually sold in the month of May. When we look at specifically the single family homes, then we're at 442,000 as an average price point. Now, condos themselves were at a price point of 241,571, which is actually a decrease of 3.86% from last year. Now, we're finding when it comes to duplexes and row houses, they're kind of holding their own this year right now. We're looking at an average price of 346,800, which actually increased from last year. So it increased just 0.77%. But again, it's nice that that is one spot that actually increased for us.
Oh, awesome. So the market is pretty a balanced market. It's pretty stable right now, the way things are performing. Now, prime rate I think currently is at 3.45, hasn't changed since February, and I know there was some talk of prime going up over the course of this year. How is the days on market in Edmonton and surrounding areas right now?
Well, we're finding the average days on the market for just residential homes is about 53 days on the market, whereas last year we were at 54, so definitely not much has changed that way. Well, but when you look at sort of just specifically single family homes, we're at 46 days on the market, and again that was actually at 48 last year, so there's that little improvement there. And then we had condos. So condos have kind of gone the other way, where we're sitting at the average days on the market for a condo, which is 66, whereas last year we had 62 days on the market. So there's just a lot more condos listed right now. So we're finding it's taking a little bit longer for some of them to sell. Whereas the duplexes and row houses, like I mentioned earlier, they're actually doing fairly well. We actually are sitting at 59 days on the market for the actual duplexes compared to last year was 62. So again, there's that slight show of improvement there.
Right. So Sheryl, with all this activity, I don't know if you have the stats on this, but do you know what the top 3 neighborhoods with listings are for the month of May?
You know what, I did actually look at that, and I found that out of the top 3, you're looking at Windermere, you're looking at downtown, and you're looking at Oliver being number 1.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Oliver, which is sort of downtown, west of 109th Street area there,
Exactly.
going up to 124th in that area. So
Yes.
primarily condos in that area. So
Hmm.
not a lot of single-family homes.
No, and you'll find that there has been more, duplexes and row houses built in there lately, and triplexes, things like that.
Oh, okay. So
More
the
infills.
infills.
Hmm.
So a lot more of that sort of stuff is happening. So a lot more sales are happening in the downtown core, and
Right.
with just the development of Rogers Place and a
Right.
lot of effort from the downtown community there to get people moving downtown, there seems to be a lot more activity.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheryl, with all this activity, and I know the listings are one thing, but sales. What are the top 3 neighborhoods for sales in May of 2018?
So the top 3 areas that had the most sales were actually downtown and Oliver. So again, definitely relates to the number of listings that were there. But then interesting enough, the top sale area was actually Summerside for the month of May. So we've got a couple in the downtown core and then one a little bit more on the suburbs.
Cheryl, I don't know if you had the opportunity to look, but in May of 2018, where was the highest priced home sold and for how much?
Well, you know what? Really interestingly, Roy, we found that in Parkview was the highest price saled home, and it actually sold for $2,335,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Condo and half duplex. Do you know what the highest sale price is for the condo and half duplex row
Yeah.
housing?
You know what? A condo actually sold just over the $923,000 mark.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm surprised to see a duplex actually sold for $730,000 as well. So definitely there's money being spent out there for sure. And so it's pretty incredible on where some of the money is being spent.
How are the overall sales in Edmonton and surrounding area? Just comparing April
Hmm.
of 2018 to May of 2018, how are the sales for like single family, condos, and duplex row housing?
But you know what? Actually, we're doing really well because the spring did start off slow, but we found there's some good increase since April. So we're finding that single family homes are up by 15.45%. So that's really nice. Condos were still up 18.42%, and duplexes are up 3.5%. So I find duplexes are they've had this slow, steady kind of the turtle effect, right? Where they're just slow and steady, holding their own. They're doing great right now and just maintaining.
So the market overall is doing well. Spring market has come along and there are slight increases, and as it gets
Hmm.
warmer, I know we had a late winter and so
Right.
maybe a slower start to the market, and so now we're seeing that people are actually getting out there and doing their purchases and obviously spending money. So we would expect that next month, that if that trend continues, things will continue climbing. And so, Cheryl, if people had other questions, where can they reach you, and what's the best way, your contact information?
You know what? Probably the best way to reach me would be to either give me a phone call at 780-717-5613, or just even shoot me an email at sstevens@remax.net.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for coming out and do this update. I'm hoping that we could do this once a month so our listeners could benefit from keeping up with what's happening in the market. And good seeing you again.
Sounds great. Thanks, LeRoy.
Awesome. Thank you.